thank you. A lot of people say I'm crazy.
No, because I'm really open to all kinds of different perspectives on what this reality could be, because nobody has any real proof, you know.
Right.
So that's the type of guy I am. So I'd rather open up my mind to all kinds of different possibilities, and
And there really is no proof. Even the stuff that I offer up is proof because I can offer up proof as to why I think the way I do. There's no proof. Even the stuff that I offer up is proof because I can offer up
oh,
proof
there's an
as to why
echo.
I think. Yeah,
Oh,
there's a big
there you go.
echo.
Okay. Hey, Jason.
Hey man, what's up?
We're talking about getting out of the matrix.
All right.
Yeah, so we have Scott Severini here,
There you go.
was giving our his thoughts on it, and would you mind repeating it for Jason?
How are
Like
you,
real.
Scott, by the way? Nice to meet you, man.
Hey, Jason, good to meet you, brother. Yeah, I was just, this is what all my videos cover is just how we're actually going backwards through time to correct everything that went wrong. Because one of the things that I see is okay. So, like when the Bible talks about the fallen angels that slept with our women,
Yeah.
um, I think it was a little more rude than just sleeping with them because you see the evidence today of how they're making babies outside of the womb.
Yeah, I saw the video on that. I actually played it on my last live stream.
Yeah, and okay, and I'm not sure where I see what all the time because I work crazy hours. I got to deal with my dog. Like right now, I'm out walking in the dark with her, so I'm always busy, busy, busy. I catch the headlines. I catch certain things, but the reason we all come back here to the Matrix is, like I said, we'll be the last ones to leave because we were the first ones put in. Um, because when you go into a playground and you're a bully, you don't go after the little kid on the block. You go after the one that's protecting the playground, and that's us. That's why we were taken down.
Right.
So if you can think of like Gulliver's Travels, he takes a nap and wakes up and he's strapped to the ground. That's one symbolic way to look at it. Even the stories out of the Bible, you've got David and Goliath. And this is the thing that I have to impress upon people. This is the way I deal with it. Is in the Bible there it says that God is so big and is everything that he can't be named, correct?
I'm not. Jason could answer that honestly. He's a little bit better schooled
Oh, okay.
in the Bible than I am on it, so I think he would be good to answer that question.
Well, I mean, they eventually had Yahweh for him, the tetragram, the as a name. They had Elohim.
Well, so the Elohim, those are
Yeah.
names as well. Those are the people. Okay, just like here in this realm, when you were born, there's a doctor waiting for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, the Elohim aren't as good as everybody thinks they are. Those were the people that were sitting here waiting for us that did this to us.
I'm going strictly from Michael Heiser. I mean, obviously, right? We all kind of look with a discerning eye, fall on certain channels and listen,
Right.
and or, and then other ones, your instincts like, yeah, they're a little off and stuff like that. I like Michael Heiser. What he was saying about Elohim is that it's just a designation. So you're completely right that some of them can be bad. So he's saying that Elohim is somebody whose natural abode is in the spiritual realm. So angels would be Elohim, even Yahweh, God would be an Elohim, but no Elohim would be Yahweh. At least that's from like the Christian perspective. But I like what you were saying because I really got also into Genesis 6. Also, the first book of Enoch, where it really, explains about the sons of God, descending. creating genetic hybrids. And what's kind of scary is that prophecy where Jesus says, as in the times of Noah, as in the days of Noah, so will it be at the coming of the Son of Man, which is like, if you don't know the angel hybrid narrative, you're going to be like, they were evil, whatever. It's like, no. What I think it's saying is, when the genetic manipulation that was happening in the pre-flood era, that actually God flooded because of that, we're going to start seeing genetic manipulation in the end times. And this is what's crazy about it, is that we are seeing, genetic manipulation. You look at the World Economic Forum, Yuval Noah Harari, is the future going to be human? You can check that out. It is a disgusting presentation. Very, very like, oh, did he go away?
Oh shit, I guess he did. I don't know why.
Because I wanted to hear his view on, because he had mentioned, like, my ears opened up when he was talking about Genesis 6, and that's too bad.
Oh, okay. He's back.
But you're back. Okay.
Yeah, I dumped myself. I'm sorry about that. I hit the wrong button when I was out here walking my dog.
And then, so that's kind of like where I'm keeping my eye on. And it's just like you had mentioned, that they can make babies now, like outside of the womb, and they can use CRISPR technology. They can gene edit. They can create a population that they genetically manipulate to perhaps be lower IQ, just certain.
Well, and it takes away your skill set too.
No, exactly. And
and that's why I feel like we're going backwards in time. And actually, we're kind of walking a bunch of different timelines currently. We're of course, everything is symbolic. I think I discussed on the last panel I was on about how, okay, so the first Passover event mentioned in the Bible was Moses parting the Red Sea. Now, as we go backwards through time, it's not going to be some dude out there with a cane that parts the Red Sea when they had that, what was it, the Evergreen tanker that was blocked in the Suez Canal. Now, they made it a point to show you every night on TV that sucker was touching both sides. And that is the parting of the Red Sea. So that's kind of how these things work out symbolically, going backwards through time. Now, there's also a part of Revelation where everything will be known. So not only are we going backwards through time, through different timelines, because this is symbolically the same time before the Exodus of Egypt as well, with the high taxes, the slaves. I mean, it's very similar, but at the same time, the story is progressing forward. So at one point, all the women were actually killed. That's why they had to make Eve out of Adam's rib. And we crossed that threshold a couple of months ago when they were talking about the baby formula being run out. So, the women are still here. It is what it is. But in the reality of events, when the women were killed, then there was no breast milk to feed the babies. So we had a baby food shortage. And then shortly after that, now we've got babies that are being made outside the womb. Why? Because all the women were dead. I've also said that, like, circumcision is symbolic of something worse that happened in the past. It's like running out of formula was symbolic of all the women being dead. I think circumcision is nothing more than being symbolic of, there was a time where when you were born as a male, that sucker just got cut off. And you can look at something that came out just this week or last, well, it couldn't be this week. This is Monday. So I think it was last week that a judge overturned a Biden mandate for transgender surgeries. He was going to force certain groups to do the transgender surgeries against their will, not the people, but the institutions that didn't want to do them.
Huh.
So that,
Vanderbilt. Are you talking about Vanderbilt?
I'm not sure now. It was, I think, one of the churches, and gosh, I don't remember. I ran through it really quick, and because I know the things that I know, and I know that at some point we all just were transgendered, it didn't surprise me to see that headline. So I didn't delve into it too much because I'm a firm believer in the devil's in the details. So I don't worry too much about the details of it all, especially since it's all symbolic anyway.
Yeah, you had Vanderbilt. It's some American hospital doing these forms of surgeries, I guess top surgeries, and also the hormone aspect, specifically on underage people. Matt Walsh is one of the most, I think, outspoken on this subject. I do follow him on the Daily Wire. So I did see the documentary, What is a Woman? That was really well done. But when he found out, what happened was at Vanderbilt, there was a meeting, and the woman was up on stage. Somebody was filming it. It ended up getting on YouTube, and she's basically threatening anybody who are conscientious objectors. She was like, if there's conscientious objectors, well, you know what? That's going to be a problem, and there will be consequences. Then she had went on, whether it was before that or after, about how much money you can make even just with hormone therapy. It means you have a patient for life. They were talking about how much money you would make per person, per surgery. And that got out. And because the Daily Wire is a podcast that is actually quite high and on their blood, creatinine, but science can't explain how the damn image got on there. And it's just on the surface. So for me, that was before becoming a Christian, I was like, whoa, that's really, compelling. Especially they carbon dated it wrong. Obviously, everyone heard about the carbon dating. Then it was refuted. Multiple other studies have done that say that it's the right time period.
I'm going to pause you right there. Are we talking about the same science that told us that we were going to space?
Look, I'm like Garland. I don't believe that everything's a lie. I believe that they mix truth and lie. I believe that when you're doing physical science, at least physical science can be corrupt also, and they can, they can deceive us. I'm just saying is we got a piece of material. Science can't. There's no benefit for them to say that because it gives a bit of validity to Christianity. So if they could refute it, damn it, I'm sure that they were. Here he says Jesus was not a Christian. A Christian means to follow Christ. See the trick? Words of Babel spell, but people don't inspect. I don't care what Christianity means. First of all, they were Jewish. Jesus came as the King of the Jews, but through them, it says the prophecy that will be a light unto the Gentiles. So through the Jews, not the Jewish people, but one Jew accomplished that. And yeah, followers call it Christian. Flat earthers call themselves flat earthers. We all label things. It's just a way of putting a label on something. I don't see the problem with the word Christian. But anyways, yeah, that's how I became a Christian. I don't believe in eternal conscious torment. That was something that made absolutely no sense. And I was overjoyed when I found that there was early church fathers that believed in conditional immortality, so that the soul is not immortal. There's a condition that needs to be met. We are all guilty. And if we don't have Christ, then we will be judged and will cease to exist, pretty much like an atheist. Not saying that's real, but I'm saying that as a Christian, I don't believe in eternal conscious torment. and there is a belief structure within Christianity, always a minority. But when the hell is the majority right? It's always the remnants. It's always the minority. So, anyways, I can't justify Christianity, but I'll definitely defend it. That's for sure. But as you can see, Christian or not, I'll give my opinion, but I'm very open to. I mean, we've been talking about the Matrix and stuff like that. You know, I'm open, and I love theories and things like that. But I'll definitely defend my truth, just like anybody here on the panel.
Oh, right. Yeah. We expect nothing less. Because you got
well
to where
said, Jason.
you got to where you are through a process. Everybody goes through the process,
Yeah.
whether it be a death in the family or um, we all go through things. It's just how we handle them.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, there's horrible Christians. There's horrible everything. I mean, a lot of people use like Christians themselves to refute it, and I'm saying Jesus never said that the ones that are spouting that they're Christians are Christians. No one knows who the heart, right? I don't know your heart. I can put up a show,
Right. Right.
stuff. I can be a hypocrite, and people tend to judge that instead of just judge it by the book. And to me, there's, I don't see the Old Testament monster, especially the fact that I know that he took a people, put them aside. They were sinful. They screwed up all the time. They were always doing the wrong things. They had a purpose to set up a book that would be a prophecy to justify the gospel. That's the only point of the Jews. And also the destructive Yahweh in the Old Testament is destroying hybrids. He's destroying Genesis 6, the Nephilim, the giants, the DNA. The flood had to happen to conserve it through Noah.
Well, but hang on, you got to remember, you're only the size of a grain of sand, so every single being is a giant to you right now.
No, giants are the giants, the very tall people. I'm not tall. I just see it as if you look through some of my previous videos, I go into like all of these giant skeleton bones that were found in the early 19th century, and the Smithsonian Museum would collect these, and they've destroyed it. They've destroyed any evidence of large skeletons.
I'll be honest.
Doesn't that raise a flag?
It just sounds like that's the story of the Bible, and we're finding archaeological evidence. That's pretty much how I interpret it, obviously through the lens of Christianity.
So I'll be honest. I'm not here to debate anyone. I'm not here to throw shade or hate on Christianity or anything. But I will say this before I hop off, because I am busy right now. But I just wanted to hop in real quick. I saw OTW live. I just want to say, Jason, that I'll just say, and maybe we could talk about this some other time on OTW stream. He does again, but yeah, I'll just say, it just confuses me how like someone basically goes back into religion, and like how one would reconcile all the logistics that one basically runs through as they start to see religion for what it is, as a man-made belief system and control system, and ultimately one of the major institutions of the quote unquote matrix. I don't understand how someone goes from like a truth seeking, like spiritual person to someone that identifies with a religion, when I thought one of the major parts of like awakening spiritually within yourself and to this world is you see the institutions, you see the control mechanisms for what they are, and that religion is one of those things, and that there's a lot of inconsistencies logically with religion itself, but especially Christianity and the Abrahamic religions in general. So
I understand. I mean, I was on the same side as you, believe me. I fell back on it through research and it proving it itself. Like I said, explain to me the Shroud of Turin, explain to me the image that science can't explain. For me, that's a big thing. Falling into religion, like I said, the healthcare system is run by all sorts of people, and you can go to the hospital and receive horrible care. That's because the institution is run by corrupt people. The Bible itself says that there will be corruption, that the institution's corrupt. They say that the church is not built of stone. So I follow the Bible. I'll hang around like-minded people. There's some churches that are completely biblical, and there's some that are insane, and there's some that are horrible. And like I said, name me one structure that humans have touched that is not tainted and corrupted. And if you look at that, you have to say, well, it's corrupted. Should we take away the corrupt healthcare system? Should we take away all of? No, we can't. We have to work within the corruption, unfortunately. And I wouldn't say that I am a mainstream Christian, because if having the idea of eternal conscious torment or conditional immortality, I'm considered the fringe. Talking about the giants, I'm the fringe. So I hang around with like-minded people. I read the Bible. I follow the Bible. I don't follow a church. If I happen to go to a church because I want to be with like-minded people, and it's interesting, just like we do platforms here. It says when one or more people gather, there I am. So, religion might be a man-made structure. We're talking about matrix. We're talking about flat Earth. We're talking about all sorts of man-made theories as well.
Jason, you know what? That's a Mandela effect.
No, I'm just saying.
No, but wait. Just because
these are all musing of men. So if you're going to say Christianity is the musing of men, well, everything else is the musing of men. Gnosticism is the musing of men as well.
Well, no, the truth isn't very musing. The truth is the truth.
Yeah, right. Subjective.
And if I can flat out say, yeah, the truth is an actual person. So my worldview is consistent. Is it wrong? Maybe, but no one here can start saying that mine is wrong. And just because it's older, judge me by what I say.
Older? What do you mean older?
Well, the Abrahamic religions and stuff like that have been around. So now religion, they're solidified. They're not even considered spiritual. He said, how do you go from a spiritual seeker to somebody for religion?
Okay, but a spiritual seeker is not, it's like you connect that directly to New Age, which is not, it's ancient knowledge. It's not even New Age at all. This is like, it goes all the way back to Sumerian texts, and it predates the Bible.
Well, when I was looking, those Sumerian texts, are very vague, and people make a lot of big theologies around it that are just as unfounded. It's so easy to just go in the past and say, oh, well, you know what, Osiris and this here, that's why Christianity is like that.
But why would we discount like the Sumerian texts or the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Book of Enoch and take the Bible as the #1 book?
Because it fulfills prophecy that no other book does.
Well, yeah, but hang on, back up a second. Somewhere in the Old Testament, Satan said he took the seat on high. So all these godly things that you may think are attributed to God are actually being attributed to Satan.
Okay,
he
so
took the place on high.
Is not in the Bible.
Pardon?
Pop it up and read what you just said. Show me the quote, because I know it's not in the Bible, the quote that you just said.
Oh, I'd have to dig it out. That goes back like 10 years or so where I read that.
You can pop it up without us seeing. You can pop up the quote. You just write it Bible verse. Show me where it says that.
Why? I can't do anything. I'm on my phone.
Okay, because I'll challenge
you. I don't have a laptop or anything like that here. I just have my phone. So I can't even show you like research that I have sitting in my phone to verify certain things, because it's in my phone and I can't get it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Hey, I'm gonna get off here. Much peace and love to all you guys. OTW.
Hey, buddy.
I'm gonna jump off too, because my phone's about to die. I'm kind of surprised it's still hanging on.
JD, did you want to come on to hormone therapy. It means you have a patient for life. They were talking about how much money you would make per person, per surgery. And that got out. And because the Daily Wire is a podcast that is actually quite high and touches a lot of numbers, he ended up making also protests and stuff like that. They shut it down. So I was really impressed that for once somebody did something that was actual action, you know. So I really respect Matt Walsh on that respect. But if you check into Vanderbilt, yeah, for now they closed it just because we brought it to the public eye. Not we, but that institution.
Undoctorinated asks, so would taking the mRNA vax be taking part of the genetic manipulation?
I think that the last 3 years has set the stage for what prophecies may come true. I don't think that it was the one, but they definitely wanted to test something. They wanted to breach our biology. They wanted to analyze how the community would react. They obviously pushed the whole propaganda machine from a mainstream media, and they analyzed it. They analyzed our data. They looked how we segregated. They looked how they could manipulate, and they succeeded. My body, my choice when it comes to killing a baby, but my body, my choice when it comes to healthy, happy medicine, I guess it no longer applies. And I think that there were victims on both sides. There are people that were coerced into taking it, having their livelihood dangled in front of their face. I don't think that the people that just broke and got it, even if they didn't want to, I think that they're victims. And I think that this is a foundation. These were necessary steps for the next level. It's kind of like a predator that's going after a child. They don't go straight to the act. They'll start by hovering around the child, complimenting the child, and very slowly desensitize the child before you know it, there's been a molestation. And that's what I think is happening to us, on a grand scale. They go up a bit, then they pull back. They go up a bit, they pull back. Kind of like the frog, that boils if you start it very slow and gradually increase the heat.
Right, boil the frog.
Yeah.
Slow boil. See, and the difference I take on all that is okay. See, the thing about it is the vaccine, even though they had mandates, especially in certain workforces, right? Everything's about free will. So I'll just leave it there. People took those jobs free will. If they, me personally, if any job would have told me I had to take a vaccine to keep it, I would no longer have that job.
Yeah, I respect
because everything is free will.
did that.
Now, one of the things that people are talking about also is everybody's waiting for the fake alien invasion or some kind of alien invasion. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I think that was it, though.
that was it. Yes,
Yeah.
because when it originally happened, when our DNA was tainted, there was no choice, hence the mandates. Now, they didn't do it across the board. They did it to certain people, just like, everything that's going on right now is only happening in certain areas. It's not worldwide. So that's kind of how this symbolic stuff plays out. It's, an isolated event, just like the tanker getting caught in the Suez Canal.
What's your thought? What's your thought? You said, because I'm curious now. You said about the fake alien invasion. So what do you think about that? Let's say aliens pop in. Who are they?
Well, since everything was wrapped in a firmament, in my opinion, and this is all just my opinion, that meant nothing on, nothing off. So nobody has left here at all. We're all still here through all these cycles. Just this sixth cycle is for man. Even that Jesus character told his disciples that it was time for them to go, that he had to stay, right? So that that was their time to go, because and people tell me I'm blaspheming and all this other stuff. I don't care. But, you know, that Jesus character wasn't all that, oh, get rid of that, that people thought he was. And his disciples probably were of his lineage. Even Jesus said, you will do greater things than I. That's because we are greater beings than he is. Because there again, you know, it isn't that we just co-create here in this realm. We're co-creating the next realm as well, outside of the matrix. And we do every single time. We co-create the next realm that we go into.
I think that if, oh, sorry, man, continue. If I cut you off, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. Because I really don't like talking tons per se. I hate getting on people's panels and eating up all the eating it up.
You're good. You're good, Scott.
Definitely make good points.
Yeah, and I'm you got my curiosity bug going there. So
okay, so for example, let's just bring up that Jesus character. So he didn't go anywhere. I'm telling you, he still walks the earth. Now, what do we know about him? He was a builder, right? And he was King of Kings. That meant he also held a position of power, like say a president or a world leader. Okay, he was King of Kings. He was the one going against the church. He was the one pointing out the falsehoods of the world, right? Mm-hmm. Put a lady up in a hotel. He did all these neat, wonderful things. That's why everybody is so adorned with him, with everything he said. But at the same time, you know, there was two sides to him. You know, at one point he was telling people to render unto Caesar, to go ahead and give the government your money. Mm-hmm. So that makes him part of the government crowd. I tell people all the time, it's they play good cop, bad cop. Okay, he was the good cop version.
He sounds like a politician.
Yes, yeah, okay. Well, let me ask you another question. Who is Donald Trump? He's a builder. He put a woman up for her life in his hotel. He was pointing out the falsehoods of the world. I can name off a half a dozen local.
He also venerates Apollo, which is the sun god.
Yep. Well, now there is a little truth to that, though.
who venerates who venerates Apollo?
Trump.
Trump.
Oh, okay. I was like, Jesus does not venerate Apollo.
But Jesus, no. in allegorical depictions, would be referred to as the sun in the sky, the morning star. All right.
Yeah. So which to me, the morning star is Venus. And Venus was birthed out of Jupiter. See, and that's okay. All those gaseous giants that are out there, you know, it depends on which stories you're reading. At one point, Saturn was a sun. At another point, Jupiter was the king in the sky. So, you know, it talks about a third of the stars being thrown to Earth. Okay, so you've got the 4 gaseous giants out there with their own bodies of planets, their own solar system, and all those people involved are all here on Earth. And they have been since we got put under the firmament, the dome, whatever you want to call it, because, you know, I think that's where reincarnation comes in, because everything was destroyed. Everything, you know, the Nostradamus prophecies talk about that, because none of these prophecies are really real. They've already happened. Now, there are certain things that are going to reoccur along a given timeline, because that's what they put in place, like the constellations, right? We're moving through the constellations. I think those are just more time markers. To me, everything's just a time marker. Because, you know, even if you work for the Navy SEALs, if you go into a dark place, which the Bible says hell is a place far removed from the light of God. So I think we've already been there, and that's what brought about the ice ages on this planet.
I think that just my view is
Right.
strong. I'm talking about the aliens coming back.
Right.
I just see it as the fallen angels just returning. I remember after Babel, God gave the nations, he separated the nations, and he also gave fallen angels, or angels at the time, to rule over them. He was basically saying, I'll give you lesser Elohim, basically, to rule over you because you're rejecting me. And so I think that the fallen angels came down when they did come down and mate and stuff like that. They said the great men of renown. So I think all of those, different cultures and stuff like that, especially you see giants in Egyptian art. The giant Goliath is riddled with the offspring of the Nephilim. And I think that they came down and played gods in the past, and they will come down and play a form of God. Since most people are atheistic now, they're just going to come as brothers, galactic brothers. They're going to do what they did in the pre-flood era, but under the guise of intergalactic brothers. And I think that they're just interdimensional fallen angels.
Well, here's a question for you that I pose to everybody.
Sure.
Okay, and then it's you guys, everybody in chat, and this is what I put in front of people that I run into in my day-to-day life. In the Bible, it says we were made in His image. Okay,
Agreed.
Was that human?
I think that it means multiple things, because you have Yahweh, the Father, so the Ancient of Days that resides always in the heavens. He has emotions, he has thoughts, he has desires. So I think that the kind of the higher consciousness that we have, that seem to have, like, it jumps compared to typical animals, that's an aspect of the image. Then we also have the Son of Man, the visible Yahweh, that appears all throughout the Old Testament, that it has a male embodiment. So I think that it can mean multiple things. I think it can even mean the physical image, because if we look at the two powers in heaven, we definitely have Yahweh that's in heaven, but we have physical manifestations, theophanies. For example, when three people appear to Abraham, they have a meal. Two of those are said to be angels. The third one is not. For a certain time, we don't know who that person is. The angels go into Sodom to get Lot and his family out, and then to destroy it with fire and brimstone. There's a very, very cool passage where Abraham's doing that negotiation. What if there's this many righteous, and negotiating? Finally, Yahweh, the passage says this: Yahweh rained down fire and brimstone from Yahweh in heaven. So you'll always see these very, very weird things, like the angel of the Lord comes, he starts talking, all of a sudden he's talking in first person. The one that wrestled with Jacob, there's many theophanies, these physical representations. So I think that definitely God didn't want to create automatons. He had to create somebody with free will. For sure, he created through an aspect of himself. That's why when you see at the start, there's a passage in Isaiah, I think it's 66:11 or 11:66, that says, my word will come forth from my mouth and accomplish everything which I have set it out to do, and it will not return to me void. So very odd passages where you were talking that we are co-creators. At least from the biblical perspective, there is a co-creator, but that is wisdom. So you have Yahweh that created through the word, and something obviously happened to our creation. It's fallen. There's a virus within us. Call it sin, call it whatever it is. We all have that darkness that we struggle with. It just makes sense that if creation is out of whack, that the word, which was the co-creator, the agent of creation. We see that in Proverbs, where wisdom personified says that I was the architect. So it just makes sense that the word, which accomplished all that, needs to come and manifest itself in a certain way to correct it.
Well, yeah,
And I
because
think
that's how we create, is through thought and speech and action. You
yeah,
speak it into
I think that's an
existence.
image. I think right there, the fact that we can think about, let's say, building a barn in the backyard. We have the desire that immediately manifests. We have in our mind, we start going through the material that we need. We might write down the instructions of how we're going to do that, write down all the pieces, the blueprint, and finally we manifest something. I think that's part of the image of God, that God, it said, the minute that he thought creation, it was created. And then in this physical realm, the physical realm is where we're actually building stuff, and that blueprint, that paper that we write to build the cabin, that's the DNA. So you can see that in a way we have the ability to create to a certain extent things within our lives, and that's an image of God. I think those capabilities, those capacities that put us above animals. Yet we're still animals physically, but we can contemplate eternity. We have eternity written in our hearts, they say, which I think is why a lot of people will go the route of reincarnation, because they feel like they've been in eternity before. But we were in eternity. That's why we have a memory. We have a desire for that. Somebody who never did heroin will never crave it. So the fact that we crave eternity, there's something in our heart about it, is that is probably a memory of when we had conditional immortality. We always have a conditional immortality, at least from a Christian perspective. Plato had the idea that the soul itself was eternal, and that kind of seeped in a bit into Christian doctrines, but it's very clear that immortality is, God even says to those angels, I tell you that ye are gods. It says in small g, but you shall die like men. So those fallen angels, there's one group that are bound in chains for now. Those are the ones that really screwed up by having sex and creating abominations. But then you have a second class of angels that are fallen. They didn't do the sex thing, but they sought worship. So they have their judgment also coming. But for sure, these fallen angels, those ones are not imprisoned. And those are the ones that sought worship in the past and created all these deities. And I think they'll come back, but they're going to come back as aliens, because people are ready to accept the aliens. They're pulling off the same thing, but in a different respect. So whether we're in a matrix or not, it doesn't matter, because it'll feel freaking real. Right now I have a sore back. If I'm in the matrix, I don't care. I'm suffering in this matrix, so there is a storyline. Even if this is a matrix simulation, there's somebody that started this simulation, and it seems like there's a story that's being told, and there is an ending, which I find.
Most definitely. Alpha and Omega. I am the beginning, I am the end. That's because the end of this is going back to the beginning.
Right. And the Omega is probably going to be represented as the next Kuf.
Yeah, well, who knows? All I know is, here's some of the things that key me to my beliefs. Okay, when Neil Armstrong stepped foot on the moon, which I don't think there's anybody here that believes we really went to the moon, but they had to put that into your subconscious because we are the creators, okay? They had to hold a timeline for when mankind, because when he stepped on the moon, he said, this is one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Nowhere in there did he include the word human. Human is homogenized man. We were born out of the earth as mankind, not human. Human is the virus that you speak of that's in all of us. It's the tainting that went on that turned us into animals, because I don't believe in reality. I always refer to where we live right now as not real. This is a form of life after death. Everything's already died. It was killed. If you're familiar with the story, the Never Ending Story, the little boy that reads the book.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw the movie.
The great nothingness was taking over the land because the children had lost their imagination, right?
Right.
Okay, so when we were attacked, now we got here as full grown beings. We weren't children like you see today when you're birthed into the world, this little baby that needs all this stuff. Okay, that's what we were turned into. When we arrived here on the scene, poof, we were full grown, but we had the mind of a child, the consciousness. Okay.
Wow.
And that's why you see the push today, save the children. Yes, that is a very big thing, but we're saving the children of God that were attacked as soon as they stepped foot on this planet. That's what happened. And they were turned into human, and therefore they were forced to eat food in order to survive. So they automatically had a control over us just through the food.
Wow.
And that's how it all began. Because, and people can talk about sun worshipers and all this other crap. The return of the Son of Man, S-U-N of man. The sun we stare at in the sky every day is not our sun.
Right. These are things that I've kind of heard of before, but you bring it in a certain way that actually makes sense.
One of the big things for me that made me more confident that Jesus wasn't just a myth, at least that he was historical, and that gave for me great validity to some of the stuff that happened in the gospel was the Shroud of Turin. I did a very long live stream. The stupid carbon dating that was taken
right
of the sheath that was repaired. I went into great detail, first of all, that the image itself is imprinted just on the top of the linen layers. It doesn't penetrate through, but there is biological substances. There's blood, there's DNA.
Right. And the Bible even said that he lived as a man.
For sure.
Now, let's back up a minute. Why, out of all the human beings walking the face of the earth, why do they have to point out that dude lived as a man? Maybe because he wasn't?
Well,
I tell everybody, and this is another big kicker that's probably going to irritate a bunch of people, because this is another thing that I say out here in the world. In fact, I work with a preacher every day at my job. And one of the questions I put to him is, if that Jesus character was so great, and he died for our sins and everything is set straight, why are we still in a matrix, first of all? And where was he through the whole Old Testament? Well, he had another name. You mentioned that earlier, that we called him Yahweh. But if you look through the Bible and look up who Yahweh really was, he came as the destroyer.
No, that's not true. That's just Gnosticism. You can't justify that through the Bible.
Well, and I'm just saying, no. I mean, he's in both books, and he goes by two different names, and that's
right. So what's the second name?
How does the name Satan grab you? When he died and ascended, that's why he was put back here. And how did he know what to tell 9 billion people what was wrong with them? How did he know? He was the only cat walking this planet that knew that Satan was our daddy, which meant we carry his DNA. Okay, that's what the natives will tell you. Go talk to any Cherokee, any Hopi. They will tell you, you have two spirits that dwell within you. Whichever one you feed is what you will become. So those are the two beings that live within us. We have the divine creation within us that was cast into us millennium ago, and then you have this tainting of the other beings that made us like them. That's why they're trying to push this whole transgender thing and make it so acceptable, so we can accept them and what they did. Because like I said, there was a time we didn't have a choice. You got changed right out the womb. You became this uni-bodied thing. Because from there, through the use of food and money and resources, You know, and there again, look how the play's playing out. Don't we have Elon Musk out there trying to put put chips in everybody's brain to hook them up to AI?
Yeah.
Well, that's because we've already been down that road.
Like I'm 100% in agreement with like the last part, like for sure. I think we're just coming from, like you said, and you say it very humbly. This is just, your opinion.
Right. Yeah. And then that's all I can be is humble, because there, like I said, we talked about this. There's no proof to any of this. It's just how you interpret things. Right. But at the same time, that would also explain Neil Armstrong landing on the moon, supposedly, and saying this is for mankind, not the human beings. And then, oddly enough, 30 years later, they came out and said, well, we lost all that technology. We can't go to the moon, right? That's because going backwards through time, we didn't have that knowledge yet. See, and that's one of the timelines that we're walking right now. We're walking the Artemis Orion timeline. We're walking the Exodus out of Egypt timeline. And oddly enough, since they made Eve out of Adam's rib, and you see all these transgenders, you've got boys coming from girls, girls coming from boys. We're all the way back to the Garden of Eden.
And
Noah. All the way back to, and Noah. We're in all these different timelines. They're the ones that are being corrected. Because the only way to fix us, to get rid of the virus, once you sleep with a woman and produce an offspring, that DNA chain stays there forever in that family lineage, and it's in our lineage. The only way to correct it is to go back to where it happened and fix it. That's how I look at it, and that's why we went through the whole bit with the pandemic, because if you're going to have something that resembles the overtake of mankind through the DNA strand, that's a good way to do it, is just through a phony pandemic. And they did the same thing with the Spanish flu, because see, what was done to us and was successful on us worked on other beings.
Yeah, the Spanish flu. Did you ever see it's on Tubi? It's free. It's called Eugenics to Pandemic.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's very interesting. It starts with the eugenics. It starts with a lot of these, Rockefeller families and stuff. The eugenics family, like sterilizing people with low IQs.
Right.
Not just genetic.
Well, we all have low IQs right now. Trust me.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? They were trying to, in a way, purify the race. So the documentary starts off with that, but it goes into the pandemic and stuff like that. Very interesting. It's on Tubi. I think it's called Shots, Eugenics to Pandemic. Check it on
I'll have Tubi. To check that out, because I do have Tubi on my phone.
It's really, well done and pretty scary.
And since you brought up the Rothschilds,
yeah,
I'll throw another curve out of your Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Jews are the chosen ones, right?
Okay.
And even that Jesus character was a Jew. Mm-hmm. But there's also Jews that aren't Jews, according to the Bible, right? Okay, right. So the Jews that are not Jews are the Jews by lineage of human. Okay, the chosen Jews are the Zionist Jews, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, all the people that are in charge, because the Bible even says that those people were put above us by God, right? Well, the gods all run to the polls every 4 years and elect them. So yes, they are put over us by God, us. Now, I'm not saying we are the God, but you are, I am, everybody is part of the God strain. So we are the gods, little g. However you want to look at it.
I would consider the little g gods. They have to be Elohim. They have to be.
Yeah, they're lessers. They're all the lessers because we're the way I look at it is so the ultimate creator God that created the heavens, created everything.
Yeah.
Also created us, and he didn't just create us. It's as above, so below. There was a piece of him that went into the earth that came out as us. So there's actually a piece of him, just like there's a piece of you and a piece of me and all our children. There's a piece of him inside of us. And I tell people to, everybody's got these mixed conceptions about, let's say, Madonna, okay? Because I know she just came out with a video. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was on your show here, OTW, right? Were you looking over the Madonna video the other day? With
2019 video that she did for the Grammys. And,
that's what it was. Okay, well, she also did a video.
They shut my stream down for a few minutes.
Yes, yes, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
But the thing about it is she did another video, and I don't remember the name of the song, but she portrays herself as the mother of creation, okay?
Oh, yeah, I saw that one, yeah.
Okay, so in that video, there is a scene where a tree comes out of her hoochie, right?
Right.
And then it goes on to another bit of the song, and then next thing you know, butterflies are coming out of her hoochie, okay? Right. And then it goes on to another bit of the song, and then this little metallic centipede-looking thing comes crawling out of her hoochie. That right there is the story of what happened to us. We are the tree of life. We were birthed from Mother Earth, okay? And we were all monarched. That's, everybody knows the butterfly is part of the monarch programming, and they think it's just because of what they went through, the Britney Spears and the Madonnas and all this, to be where they are. No, that we all got monarched, period. And we were turned into the little metal centipede looking thing. Now, that isn't exactly how it played out, but in a symbolic way, because it's all symbology. Because even in that video you were covering the other night that got turned off, you brought up the fact that they're talking about the Kundalini. Okay, okay, so they're just like in the movies, just like in the music, they're telling you what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Or what has gone on. It's up to us, and this is where the consciousness comes in, and discernment, and all this other word salad that's out there, right?
Right.
It's just a